mistakes are costing families thousands of scholarship money. And before we get into today's video, my name is Evan Mendoza. I played 7 years of pro baseball, went through the college recruiting process at the D1 level at NC State University, and we help high school baseball players every single day play in college. Stay with me until the end because the third mistake is the most common, but it's also the most expensive. So let's get into today's video. So mistake number one, it's really just waiting too long to get started in the whole college recruiting process. Ideally, whenever you are a high school baseball player, it is important to start reaching out to these college baseball coaches. And if you're a parent watching this video, your son should be the one reaching out to these college coaches. Number two, chasing that wrong exposure. And number three, not knowing how to communicate with these college baseball coaches. So let's go into each one by one. Number one, waiting, right? This is probably more than likely you think, your son's a junior right now. His numbers don't stack up with the competition of where you think he should be. His numbers, his metrics don't align with a D1 caliber program. So what you guys do is you're right here and you're just waiting until those numbers hit that certain benchmark. And my big reality to you is, what if those metrics never align with those D1 caliber teams and you never send out any emails to any college coaches? You never take the initiative into your own hands to communicate with these college coaches. Then what? So ideally, we need to think about, if we keep delaying this process of communicating with college coaches, ideally, instead of waiting until those numbers are where we want them to be, what if we document this slow progression upwards and to the right? Ideally, this is where our numbers will go, and ideally, this is a great way for us to be able to showcase what we're able to these college coaches. So ideally, waiting around is never going to help you in any situation whatsoever. If anything, it's going to hurt you because you're never going to be able to find that perfect time. There's no such thing as that perfect time. If you think you'll find it, good luck, right? Because there are plenty of opportunities in today's world where other people that are super competitive will take those opportunities that you're lacking on just because you're on your heels. So now let's talk about the wrong exposure, because there's plenty of different ways to get that exposure. And ideally, you can go to camps, you can go to showcases, you can go to tournaments, and these are all ways to get those eyeballs on you. At the end of the day, we want those eyeballs on either yourself while you're playing, while you're competing against good competition. Take that into account as well. But this is where we typically spend a lot of money on, because we view it as an investment and we view it as an exposure event. What in reality, what they really are evaluation events. These are evaluation events because college coaches go to these events already being exposed to certain players, and they know who they're looking at and who they want to evaluate even further, because they've already shown some interest in the player, and ideally the player needs to perform to get evaluated, not only once, not only twice, but sometimes it's a few times before a college coach trusts that specific player's abilities to be able to get an offer, right? So you're chasing all of this. And again, a lot of dollars around that. So I don't want you to be chasing the wrong exposure. And ideally, the exposure happens up here, right? At the very top layer of an upside down pyramid. And this is where, D1 offers are made. And like I said, before that offer, really what we want to do is get a visit and have a level of interest from that specific coach. That interest will only happen, reality, after your son has been evaluated. Ideally, that evaluation process is really important, but this exposure really can be boiled down to impressions. And impressions actually derived from the social media metrics that we take into account each and every day here on YouTube, on Instagram, etc. But impressions are basically how many times does your piece of content get served to basically the person watching it, how many times, right? So if I scroll on my phone and I scroll past a video and I watch it for 3 seconds, that counts as one impression. Let's say I scroll past it again, that's only one impression, guys, because it's the same eyeballs seeing, right? But ideally, what we're trying to do is get as many impressions as possible in the exposure side of things. And really what this can be done is for free. And you guys might think to yourself, like, how in the world can this be done for free? Well, ideally, we want to do it through email. And if you are curious on how to email college baseball coaches the right way, you can either comment on Instagram the word or the number 7, or if you're on YouTube, just click the link in my bio or on my website for the 7 steps on how to reach out to college baseball coaches the right way. It's definitely a great resource for you. So last but not least, what I really want to talk about is not knowing how to communicate to these college coaches, because this is also a huge area that a lot of players and parents will do this the wrong way. Well, first off, let's talk about parents doing it the wrong way. You don't want to be the one communicating with these college baseball coaches. Let's be honest. This is not needed. This is not a part-time job that you need to take ownership of, because you are not the ones trying to play college baseball. Ideally, it's your son. So why isn't your son taking that initiative, grabbing the bull by the horns and saying, let's go. I will take ownership in this process. I will learn the necessary skills to be able to email these college baseball coaches the right way. As far as the players, there are a couple of areas that I see, even with my students, with technical errors in the email. And we're talking about like grammar. We're talking about like errors basically in abbreviations. There's a ton of them. There's not hyperlinking links, basically, whether that's a PG profile, highlight video, etc. There's different things that we can be highlighting or basically showcasing to these college baseball coaches and directing that traffic. There's also the signature line in your email. These are all areas that we take into account. And that's, again, why I have my students send over a first draft, because just like in English class, you might not have the best looking essay. But also, if you're a parent listening to this, remember the last time that you went through a job interview. Ideally, your application or your resume is going to be piled on a stack of other resumes. And how do we really differentiate ourselves? Well, number one is not using abbreviations. By the way, I've seen this on email templates before, and I've played 10 years beyond high school baseball, so 3 years at the D1 level at NC State University, and then 7 years of professional baseball between the St. Louis Cardinals and San Diego Padres. And I've seen players put abbreviations like, it's kind of hard to even think about, like RLP. And I'm just like, what does that mean? What position is that? What are you trying to tell me? Like right, left, pinch hitter? Like what in the world does that mean? I've seen some abbreviations where typically they're just typos. Sometimes the player deeply is like, no, that's I'm trying to say like I'm a right-handed relief pitcher. And that's what the L stands for. And I'm just like, no, not at all. If you're a right-handed pitcher, just put right-handed pitcher, RHP. That is the abbreviation for right-handed pitcher. And those abbreviations are not going to change. Another huge mistake that I see are high school baseball players who think it is a flex to put that they are a third baseman, a shortstop, a second baseman, a right fielder, and a catcher, and also a right-handed pitcher, of course. Too many positions. Find your position, guys. And if you don't have a position, choose the one that you feel most comfortable with. For me, I was a right-handed pitcher and a shortstop. That kind of screams to these college coaches. I'm an athlete. Of course, I pitch on the days I'm not playing short because my team needs me and I have a decent arm. But if you're telling these college coaches that you play so many different positions, if anything, it devalues yourself, because you don't have a true position. So these are some common mistakes, guys. And just to recap, like waiting too long, that's never going to help you in any way, shape, or form. That process of waiting, again, for that perfect time is never going to truly happen. So don't expect that perfect time to happen. That's where I think it's just really interesting to me, where I speak to families of parents, and parents will sometimes tell me, my son's only a junior. We thought recruiting started senior year. And sometimes my response is, have you been living under a rock? Holy cow, why are we waiting this long? It's well beyond August 1st of your junior year. Why have we not started this process yet? So don't wait for that perfect time expecting it to happen, and even to schedule out your eligibility review, guys. If you don't know, that's how I help my students inside my academy. That is the first initial step to see if you guys are a good fit for us, but then also if we are a good fit for you as well. We help high school baseball players through the recruiting process and also with the player development side of things as well. And that's the way to find out. People will tell us like it's not a good time, their junior year or their senior year. And it's like, do we have the dream and goal in mind to be able to play college baseball? Yes or no? Because sometimes our actions don't align with the words or even the thoughts of what's going on. Now, another common mistake, like I said earlier, guys, chasing that wrong exposure. You can chase the exposure that costs lots of money, but at the end of the day, there's ways to get exposed. There's ways to get those impressions, like I mentioned, for free, completely for free, on social media, even through email as well. And then again, not knowing how to communicate with these college coaches, that is a huge mistake, guys. So if you have those things that you are struggling with, you can definitely click the link down below in the description to learn a little bit more about myself, the Triple Play program, and how I could potentially install the Triple Play for either you or your son.